Who is Conor McGregor fighting next? I think we all know the usual candidates, and we're going to start with the most popular of them. Jorge Masvidal is the top candidate for fighting Conor McGregor next. I think we all know this. Biggest year of his life last year, biggest year of his career, most impressive finishes of his career last year. He's the most famous he's ever been in his entire life. He's the most relevant guy in the sport other than Conor McGregor right now. He's the man with all the answers. The BMF belt, the title implications against 170-pounder Usman, who's the 170 world champion. Masvidal seems to have it all going for him in terms of candidates. However, is McGregor going to make that jump to 170, or does he want revenge at 155 first, rather than starting a whole new venture? Because if he commits to Masvidal at 170, he's committing to 170. Okay? That's the con for Masvidal. If he fights Masvidal at 170, he kind of has to have his next fight at 170. You know, you can't beat Masvidal at 170 and then come back down and fight the winner of Khabib Ferguson at 155. That just wouldn't work out too well in terms of the rules of MMA. So Masvidal's there, and he's got a real good shot at getting a McGregor fight next. Then you've got Justin Gaethje. Would be interesting. Very winnable fight for Conor McGregor as well. Much more winnable than Jorge Masvidal is anyway. Very winnable fight with Conor McGregor. One of the most entertaining fighters in the sport, and is known as one of the most entertaining fighters in the sport, which is marketable. Has a good position in the lightweight rankings that would mean that Conor McGregor could eliminate him as an opportunity for a title shot. Because right now, I mean, it's between Justin Gaethje and Conor McGregor. And if Conor McGregor goes out there and beats Justin Gaethje, all of a sudden Conor McGregor is the only option for a title shot. That's Gaethje. But also, Gaethje didn't even show up to the UFC 246 card because he hates opportunity and he doesn't want to get his own way in the sport, and he wants the UFC to disrespect him and continue to treat him like a fool that he is because he doesn't even show up to UFC 246 like a clown. There's a McGregor fight on the line and you don't even show up to the event. You clown, Justin Gaethje. Half a point for Justin Gaethje. So we've got Masvidal as my pinky finger. We've got Justin Gaethje over here. Then we've got Usman. But no one cares about Usman, which is conveniently the middle finger. Funnily enough, Usman's the middle finger here on my hand. So we've got Kamaru Usman, which is this guy here. Least popular guy, I'd say, among the fans right now. Also, a big factor here. The champion at 170, which McGregor has not earned a title shot for. So that's definitely not going to be the fight that happens next. And also, kind of irrelevant and not a big fight. Let's remove Kamaru Usman from the mix. So we've got maybe a Gaethje, and we've got a full chance that it could be Jorge Masvidal. Something that people aren't considering. Does McGregor just want another little layup? Because if he does, Nate Diaz trilogy. And I know people are going to be angry at me that I call it a layup, but I'm comparing it to the Masvidals and the Gaethjes. Nate Diaz is a much easier fight for Conor McGregor. A much easier fight, and he could really take that one next, and no one would be angry at him because everyone loves Nate Diaz. It wouldn't be the best fight to happen. It's not in hot demand right now for them to have a trilogy. If Nate Diaz comes back and wins against someone who's very good and then calls for the trilogy, now we have some demand. But Nate Diaz right now, coming off a loss, it would be seen as McGregor going back a step. But as smart as McGregor is business-wise, I think the Nate Diaz free fight is a real possibility of happening. So right now I've got it between Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal, but I'm leaning towards Masvidal because Masvidal beat Diaz. Let's bring this finger down again. Okay? Then we've got the thumb over here, which is the opposable. Khabib or Ferguson. It's almost like I planned this whole thing on my hand. The opposable, Khabib or Ferguson, it's interchangeable. Is that going to be the next fight? Here's the pros. They're champions. McGregor's earned a title shot because he beat the same guy who Gaethje beat to get a title shot, and he's beat the two guys who beat Gaethje at 155 in Dustin Poirier and Eddie Alvarez. Okay? Khabib or Ferguson, the opposable. Which one's it going to be? And here's where the juiciness comes out, okay? And here's how everyone can be happy. Khabib and Ferguson have one thing going for them. They have the belt. Khabib has the revenge factor for Conor McGregor and will most likely be the biggest fight in UFC history. Maybe bigger than the first fight of Khabib and McGregor. Maybe. And I think it would be a huge fight, and that might happen next. However, Khabib doesn't want to fight McGregor next, okay? Khabib wants different fights. Khabib wants to punish McGregor for all the stuff he said and wants to make McGregor earn a title shot. Here's how things could get interesting, and here's how a lot of people aren't seeing the whole thing playing out. And I'm going to break it down to you right now. Khabib versus Ferguson is happening. People seem to be very foolishly assuming ahead of time that Khabib is going to beat Ferguson. I think Ferguson beats Khabib. And I'm going to get shit for that. I know I am. I think he does. Okay? And if Ferguson does beat Khabib, you know what that solves? It solves a whole lot of issues in terms of guys getting passed up for title shots, people not deserve, Conor McGregor doesn't deserve title shots, McGregor should be at 155. It solves a whole lot of issues. If Tony Ferguson wins against Khabib and takes the belt, do you know what you do then? You do Khabib versus Conor McGregor, the rematch, because now Khabib is a 155-pound contender looking to get back towards the title, so all his power is gone. Khabib McGregor rematch at 155 for a title elimination bout, and maybe you do Justin Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson, and then the winners face each other while you do Jorge Masvidal versus Kamaru Usman. Because as much as Jorge Masvidal over here, in the pinky, is a very viable matchup. It's a huge name. It's an amazing fight. He's a guy who likes to stand up and trade, which is an entertaining fight for the fans. People would buy that shit to watch it, most definitely. But Masvidal, if you take him away from his 170 obligations to fight Conor McGregor, you leave the 170-pound division fucking ruined in reality. And instead, what you could do is this. Masvidal, I don't think is going to fight Conor McGregor next. First of all, because he blew it, and I'll make a video about that tomorrow. He blew his chances by acting like a complete fool the entire... I mean, I think we can all agree, Usman, Gaethje and Masvidal got made to look like complete fools throughout the entirety of UFC 246. I think we can kind of agree on that. But let's talk about it like this. Let's say you bring Masvidal to fight Conor McGregor in May. Usman's now sitting out for a very long time, and he's going to have to fight the winner of Woodley versus Leon Edwards. Most likely. If McGregor beats Masvidal at 170, there's no telling that McGregor is going to stay at 170. He could just come back down to 55. And now you've wasted a title contender in Jorge Masvidal. What I think would be the perfect move, and hear me out because I've been in the Matrix and I've seen everything, is this. Conor McGregor waits, and hopefully Tony Ferguson beats Khabib Nurmagomedov. Or, if he doesn't beat Khabib Nurmagomedov, we just do Conor McGregor versus Justin Gaethje in the meantime. Hear me out. It's in the meantime. If McGregor can get past him, then we do McGregor versus the winner of Khabib versus Ferguson. McGregor versus Gaethje in the meantime would be the best thing to do. Or, if Tony Ferguson beats Khabib, we could do Khabib versus McGregor. We could do Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson. We could also do Jorge Masvidal versus Kamaru Usman. And get the best out of every division. Okay? We get the title shot we want at welterweight. We get the fights with McGregor at 155 against Gaethje or Khabib if Khabib loses to Ferguson. We also, in an alternate reality, could maybe get Gaethje getting a title shot against Ferguson and Khabib versus McGregor as a contender fight. Then whoever is the 155-pound champion, fingers crossed if you want money, it's McGregor at the end of it. If Masvidal beats Usman, that's when you can risk the Masvidal-McGregor fight. When McGregor's the 155-pound champ and Masvidal's the 170-pound champ, Alhamdulillah in Jesus' name, whatever the other prayer is, then you do that fight. McGregor the 155-pound champ, Masvidal the 170-pound champ. He's done 45 to 55. Now he wants 3 belts simultaneously. He wants 55 to 70. Masvidal's got 170. McGregor's got 55. That would be the biggest fight in UFC history, and I think that's the way the UFC is going to try and play their cards, because there's a reason that Dana White does not want McGregor to fight Masvidal, and it's not because he thinks that McGregor might lose, because McGregor might lose to Khabib, because McGregor might lose to Gaethje, because McGregor might lose to fucking Charles Oliveira. Who the fuck knows what's going to go on? But what we do know is this. If we can hold off from McGregor versus Masvidal now, and make the most out of both of their big names, individually and separately, at 2 different divisions. Make the most of Jorge Masvidal at 170 fighting Kamaru Usman, and use his name value for that. And make the most of Conor McGregor's name at 155, fighting Justin Gaethje, fighting the winner of Khabib versus Ferguson, and maybe even holding the title at 155 one day. Then we can finally make the exchange in a super fight between McGregor at 155 and Masvidal at 170. Because right now, if you make McGregor versus Masvidal, you lose one of the biggest names in the sport. Either one of them. They're 1 and 2 right now. Or 1 and 3, depending on how you want to look at things. I think Masvidal's number 3 in the sport. I think that would be fair to say. Right now, in terms of relevance, it's McGregor, number 1. Khabib, number 2. Masvidal, number 3. I don't see anyone else who's on par with them. Do you really want to cancel 1 and 3 out now? Or do you want to make it for the biggest fight in UFC history? Who knows? Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button there. Goodbye. I tried to break it down as best I can. I may have failed, but you know. Let me know. Goodbye. I'll see you later. Oh yeah, and Kamaru Usman wasn't hacked. Oh, I missed the stop button. Fuck, I ruined it. He wasn't hacked.